Welcome, I'm Danielle Bassani with Time for Change Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious cranberry chutney in your Instant Pot. You can use this chutney not only as a side dish or a condiment, but you can also use it as a topping on veggie burgers, which is unbelievably delicious. And I'm also going to show you how to make a lovely dessert parfait with it. This recipe is salt-free and sugar-free and contains nothing but whole foods, so I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is take the pits out of our medjool dates. We're using 8 medjool dates, and I've taken the pits out of most of them, but I left one intact just so you can see what it looks like. You have to take this out, or you could break a tooth eating this sauce. And so we're putting our 8 medjool dates in here. We're adding to that a half a cup of diced beets. And that's what gives our chutney its color. And of course, beets are naturally sweet. And I think we'll go ahead and add the lemon juice at this point. We're using a tablespoon of lemon juice. You could add that when you add all the other ingredients to the Instant Pot if you want, but I like to remember to do it now. And so we're going to put a cup of water in here. That's close enough. We'll be using a cup and a half total. And we'll put on our earplugs because we're safety people and we protect our hearing. Okay. This is about the consistency we want. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set this aside along with the other half cup of water, and we'll be using this again in a few minutes. The hardest part of this recipe is chopping up the fruits, which isn't hard at all. So we're taking 12 ounces of cranberries, and we've taken out all of the pieces that have look like they're about to go bad and gotten rid of those. And as we push it in here, we'll check again. As we put the rest of them in here, we'll continue to check that. And so another thing I should point out is for this recipe, I like to use my ceramic insert in my Instant Pot, because whenever you're working with sugars or things that are sweet or things that have nuts in them, the Instant Pot sometimes likes to scorch them. But if you have a ceramic nonstick liner, that is very protective of that. And so we've used 12 ounces of fresh cranberries. You can also use frozen. As a matter of fact, it's a good idea if you can find fresh cranberries during the holiday season to buy quite a few more bags and stick in your freezer so that you have them all year. They're wonderful to pull out in the spring and make chutneys to spread on sandwiches or desserts or whatever, to have them at an unusual time of the year. We're adding to this 3 large Red Delicious apples that have been diced. The reason I use Red Delicious, which is not commonly an apple that one uses for cooking, but I like to use it because it breaks down very easily, and because it's very sweet, and it also adds to the sweetness of this dish and takes away from the sourness of the cranberries. We're using a half a cup of raisins. These are organic raisins. We're using 3 tablespoons of minced ginger. This dish is a little bit spicy, which I love. And we're adding 2 oranges that have been cut into small pieces. The zest of those 2 oranges. Spread it out a little bit. a teaspoon and a half or a half tablespoon of cinnamon, and I like to use Ceylon cinnamon. A half a teaspoon of allspice. Don't do that. And a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. This is completely optional. You can use a quarter of a teaspoon, or you can use none at all. By now you probably know how I like spice, so I'm adding a half a teaspoon. Another thing that I forgot to add to this, and fortunately we can correct that now, are 2 teaspoons of organic cornstarch. So we'll go ahead and add this now. So this final half cup water is something I'm using to clean out the Vitamix and to allow us to get every bit of this wonderful beet mixture. Okay, so now that we've got in all our ingredients, all we have to do now is put the lid on, set the release valve to seal. You know, this would be open and this is sealing it. And then we set it on manual for 3 minutes. I also like to push manual again. You see it's got the warm button on. If you push manual twice, it disengages the warm feature because I want this to start cooling off once it's finished. I don't want to keep it heated. So there you have it. So we're going to make a cranberry parfait. This is a dish that my friend Leanne Campbell named Danielle's Delight, and I have no quarrel with that because it is delightful. We're going to use little wine glasses for this, and this is a cashew cream cheese that I made yesterday, and I like to keep this on hand in the refrigerator at all times because it's so useful for so many different kinds of applications. And to that we are going to add a half teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to mix this up. And we're going to thin it just a little bit. Actually, this isn't going to require much thinning, if any. I have some water on the side just in case, but I think this is just right. Okay. And we're taking a couple of graham crackers that I have ground up just by pressing them in my fingers like this. And I kept 2 little pieces to the side that we're going to be using just as decorative pieces. And we're going to put these in the bottoms of our glasses. And I'll keep a few crumbles just for decorative purposes for the top. And to this I am adding, I found that this 1/4 cup scoop is perfect for this, for making this, so I'm going to use that. I'm using maybe 1/8 of a cup of pecans in this. And that adds a little bit of crunch to this lovely dessert. And then I'm going to take my little measuring cup and fill this. And the pecans aren't strictly necessary. If you prefer another type of nut, you can use it, or you can leave it out altogether. Now we're adding our cashew cream cheese. And there's no sugar in this. I messed that up. I'll have to fix that. We're just going to spread that out a little bit. And we are going to do it again. So you end up with about a half cup of this cranberry mixture. While we're making this, I can hear that the steam is coming to the top of this, and so this pressure valve will pop up in just a minute. Okay, now this is cranberry chutney that I made yesterday, and so it's chilled. Put another little dollop of this on top. You can sprinkle a little of this on it. Okay, so there you have it. A lovely cranberry parfait that will delight your guests, and they won't even know there's no sugar in it. Okay, so this is cooked for 3 minutes, and then it released naturally, and the pressure valve has dropped down, and you can see there's no pressure releasing now. So we'll move the lid and stand back away from the steam. And because this is a non-stick pan, I'm going to use a wooden spoon to stir this up. And it's fine to stir it up well, because it doesn't hurt to break down some of these pieces of fruit to make more of a sauce, or to break down the pieces of cranberry. Okay, so it's finished. So we just need to set it aside and let it cool for a bit. These are made from chutney that I made yesterday, which is chilled. And so you can serve it either as a side dish at a holiday table, or as a parfait, or you can put it on a veggie burger. You'd be surprised at how delicious that is. So there you have it, a delicious whole foods chutney with no sugar and no salt. I'm Danielle Bassoni, serving up whole foods for whole health.